What's going on, everybody? Week 7 in the league where they play for pay. In the greatest sports in North America, the National Football League. And today we will pick the games and handicap the spreads as we've done all year. This year the Miz is hot. If I may say so myself. Right? (28-7) on the season. 27-7 on the season. With the spreads, I've caught a hot streak. I follow a routine that I can't give out. But I'm really big on home teams that are due for wins. And I try to follow that. Anything happens on any given Sunday. Week 7 in the NFL. And add another win to that total. I didn't get to put it on video last night, but I did tell a few guys out there. But I'm pretty sure we all were on the same page. The Arizona Cardinals, for me, were the lock of the week. Didn't get my video in yesterday, so I won't count it. But made a couple of cookies on that one. Game 1, Week 7 in the NFL. And I'm going to give you the entire slate of games this weekend. For the first time ever, the Miz is going to go full-born 100. 0 to 100 real quick. Game 1, the Detroit Lions are in Dallas. And I'm going to try to do quickies and not spend too much time other than the 2 New York games at the end. Hey, the Detroit Lions, they're having a great year. They got to make a movie in August, Hard Knocks. And I think the only hard knock was the hard knock on them. I don't think they came out of that show. And that's why I've always said that show is a disease. That's the worst thing you could do to your organization and team is bring Hard Knocks in there and let them watch everything you're doing all summer and blow these kids' heads up. The Detroit Lions are going to go to Dallas. Dallas Cowboys are coming off a tough, gritty loss with the Eagles where the Cowboys could have laid down. They were getting a beating. But the Cowboys fought hard, got off the mat and pressed and came back in the game and made a game out of it. The Eagles won. The Dallas Cowboys are home and they're getting back Dak Prescott, their money quarterback. Hey, in Dallas, when you look on paper, this game's not even close. This is a horrible matchup for Detroit, but this is the NFL Football League, and we see this every single week. Detroit's +7. This is, to me, a lot of people ain't going to take this side. I'm going to take the points. Detroit's +7. They're going into Dallas, and I can see Dak Prescott being rusty. The Cowboys should win this game, right? They should win this game. They should. That's a fishy word when it comes to the NFL. Should. The Lions are +7. The Cowboys should win this game. Should. I'm taking the Lions +7. Give me the points. And if you're smart and you're a guy that plays these games for some cookies, you could buy a point for the Lions and make them +8 and make yourself feel a little more comfortable. Take the points with Detroit. On to game 2. The Tennessee Titans are playing the Colts. Now, I believe the game's in Tennessee. And the Titans are -2.5. And the Titans already beat the Colts a few weeks ago. So you would think the Colts, who may be starting to find themselves a little bit, but are still struggling with the injuries, would have to even up here. It's very important for the Colts to even up. Hey, I don't think so. I like the Titans in this game. I think the Titans are playing good football. Their defense is still tough. They still stick with the ground game. They stick to their ingredients, and they found their way back this year after a horrible start. The Titans are -2. You could take the game straight up. I'd take the -2. Give me the Titans. A matter of fact, I'll take the Titans in this game straight up. Throw the points away. The Titans win the football game. It'll be close. Titans, 23-20. Game number 3. The Ravens are coming off a hard loss, a game that they blew away. And the Giants took over late in the fourth quarter of the game and stole it from them. A horrible loss for the Ravens. It's the third time this year they've blown a game in the closing minutes. They have not closed out games well. Lamar's playing good football this year. He made a horrible turnover late in that game. Not usually like him. The Browns are coming to town. They are desperate. This is a desperate Browns football team that has not had the ball bounce their way this year. They've lost a bunch of games that they easily could have won. The Browns are +6.5 in Baltimore. The Ravens have owned them. They've won the last 5 straight and something like 19 out of the last 24 games. The game's in Baltimore, and the Ravens, I believe, would bounce back here at home. The Cleveland Browns are +6.5. Buy a half a point, make it 7. Take the Browns with the 7 points. The Browns will cover the +7. The Ravens will win. Game number 4, Atlanta Falcons coming off a big upset of the 49ers. The 49ers have had injuries. But I told you all last week it was a trap game, and my upset dog of the week was the Atlanta Falcons to win the game outright. I gave you that dog, another dog this year. That's 7 dogs to win the games outright this year. Those are money games right there. The Falcons are +6.5. They're going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is starting it, getting it going. They've got it going. It's starting to roll. The Bengals defense, with nobody we really know, is among the top of the league. Atlanta's +6.5, man. I'll take Cincinnati to win this game, but I can't take them with the points. Atlanta is playing good football. They are sneaky under the radar, a decent team this year. Atlanta's +6.5. Buy a half. Hey, buy 1. Buy 1. Make it 7.5 if you're that guy. Take Atlanta plus the 7.5 to cover the game. Cincinnati should win this game, but Atlanta will cover. My other lock of the week, Arizona was won last night. It's already passed. The Green Bay Packers are coming off 2 devastating losses to the 2 New York teams. And they didn't just lose last week. The Jets punched them in the mouth, kicked them in the face, and put them in the ground. The Jets outright up front beat the heck out of the Packers. Made the Packers look like a team that we don't know. Who's this? Ain't the Packers we know. The Green Bay Packers are -4.5 going to Washington. Washington is a lost cause. The organization's a mess. The franchise is a disaster. And the owner's busy fighting with other owners in the NFL. They don't have time for football. And some people have given up on Ron Rivera. They think he somehow overnight forgot how to coach. Nope, wrong. That guy's one of the better coaches in the NFL. It's simple. Shit has gotten so ugly, it's hit the fan, and that coach is looking for a way out. He wants to get fired. That's why he's giving you rants to the media after the game. You've never seen this guy rant before. He doesn't do that. That man wants out. Let him out. Put him out of his misery over there. He's a good coach. And I believe the perfect place for Ron Rivera to turn back up again is to get out of Washington and somehow get back to Carolina, who's a young team with good players. And now they've loaded up on picks with the trade of McCaffrey to the Niners. They're set up to build a team next year. And I think he'd be the perfect coach for a young team full of kids because he's good at grooming kids and growing a football team. And he's done that his whole career. I think Carolina and Ron Rivera would be the perfect reunion. If you're out there, Ron, get out of there. You don't need that, especially with the cancer and everything you've dealt with. Just get out and go back south to Carolina. Sweet home Carolina. You know what I mean? Hey, Packers are minus 4.5 in Washington. The Green Bay Packers wake up and take their fury and anger out on Washington this week and blow Washington out. Minus 4.5. Give me the Packers in this game. Shock me if the Packers don't win this game going away at least by 10 or 13 or more. Tampa Bay's minus 13 to the Carolina Panthers, who right now don't have a real coach. They just gave up McCaffrey and having a fire sale as they're looking to rebuild and collect as many draft picks as they can. Tampa Bay's been a mess. Tom Brady's home drama has been brought into the locker room, it seems like. It's affected the team, and they have a ton of injuries, especially on defense. Maybe it would have been served them right if they would have kept JPP and let him go to the Ravens. Hey, and you know what? Tampa's minus 13, and that's a lot in the NFL. But I think Tampa wakes up this week and finally gets a big win. So I'd lay that 13. I'd buy a point. If you could buy 2 points and get it to 11, of course that helps big time. Tampa should definitely win this game going away. If you could get Tampa at minus 11, 11.5, which you can, take that. Tampa Bay minus 11.5. The Raiders. The Raiders in Vegas. They'll be home this week. Okay? And it's pretty simple. They're playing the Texans, who are one of the worst teams in the league. The Texans will come and give you a fight for 2 quarters. But they just don't have what it takes to last the game. The Raiders have talent, and it's about time Carl and Adams are going to find themselves. The Raiders are minus 7 at home. I'd buy a point and make it 6 and take the Raiders minus 6 at home. The Raiders should cover this game. You got a game between the Chargers and I believe Seattle. The Chargers are minus 5. They're at home. Now Gino and Seattle are putting up points, but I'm still not a believer. They've won some games and they put up a 50 spot, but I'm not a believer. Right? Or 48 in Detroit. Come on. You, me, and some of the YouTubers out there could probably put up at least 35 on Detroit. Right? I'll tell you right now. The Chargers are minus 5. Take the Chargers. Buy a point, make it minus 4. The Chargers will cover the minus 4. The Chargers win this game by at least a touchdown. And I give you a special that I haven't given you guys all year. Okay? I give you a bonus this week. A Miz bonus. For the first time all year, the Chargers and Seattle are putting up big points this year. Those are 2 pretty strong offenses. And the over-under is 50.5. Take this down to 48.5. Buy the 2 points that's allowed. Take it to 48.5. Trust me. And take the over 48.5. The Chargers and Seattle. I expect both these teams to score in the upper 20s, and one of them might get over the 30 mark. Go over 48.5. That's a lock. A Miz bonus. Under over. It doesn't happen often. We take the next game, the Kansas City to San Francisco. The Chiefs will play the 49ers. The 49ers is just acquired one sick weapon, McCaffrey, running back, which is going to make the Niners offense so dynamic. They're already one of the most physical offenses and teams in the NFL. The Niners lost a horrible game in Atlanta last week. I called it. I expected it, as they were missing many starters. They start to get a little bit healthy, but not enough yet this week. The following week, the Niners will get back Trent Williams, Bosa, and several other players. And I foresee a huge run, a beginning to a run for the 49ers that can end up in the NFC title game and maybe even the Super Bowl. Where the 49ers are set up to be the top team in the NFC outside of the Eagles. Both of those teams, and I add the Minnesota Vikings right underneath them. The top three in the NFC for now. I expect the Packers to have a big second half of the season, so they will come back around. But right now, it's going to be the 49ers, Eagles, and Vikings. The 49ers are plus 2.5. I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs straight up. I'm not even going to mess with the points. I see the Chiefs winning this game because the Niners still don't have most of their players. And McCaffrey will not be playing this week, most likely. And even if he is, there's not going to be much of a package for him. The Kansas City Chiefs can win this game. Look for a game of about 24 to 20, 24 to 19, Kansas City. They'll cover the minus 2.5, but don't even mess with it. The Kansas City Chiefs straight up win this game. The Niners get healthy next week, and things start to roll in San Francisco. I like the Chiefs straight up. The Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are -6, and they're getting back their quarterback, Tua. They've been losing, I believe, what are they now, 3-3? The Miami Dolphins are -6, and they're due for a win. And I believe the Miami Dolphins will win this game, and they will cover the 6. The Miami Dolphins -6 to win this game outright. We got the two New York teams now. And then I'm going to give you a Monday night game. New York, New York. It's a hell of a town. As the Giants and Jets are running their conferences at the top right now. Not the very top, but they're right there. The two Cinderella teams in the NFL as of right now. The New York Jets are 4-2, coming off a stomping of the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. One of the most physical beatings that Rodgers has suffered at home in his career. As Quentin Williams and the crew abused him. The Jets are going to Denver. The Denver are a desperate animal. I don't know if Russell's playing, but I imagine he's going to try. And even if he didn't, it might be a good thing. The Broncos are the third-rated ranked defense in the NFL. They barely allow points. They're stingy and they are vicious. Their offense has not lived up, so their record has not been produced. But the Denver Broncos are a defense to be reckoned with. And everybody knows going a mile high is never an easy day. It's a tough place in the altitudes. It's a tough fan base. And the Broncos have a real defense. And if Russell Wilson, Judy, and some of his receivers can get on the same page, the Broncos could be a problem despite what I think is the worst coaching job this year in the NFL. The Denver Broncos head coach is a disaster. You got a veteran superstar quarterback who you're paying a fortune to, and you don't allow the guy to call audibles or maybe call some of his plays. You made his life miserable, and you make all the wrong choices possible every single time. Get out of the way. You're not a real coach. Get the hell out of the way and let them play football. I believe the Jets are coming off of 2 emotional wins. They're on a high. There's a little drama in the locker room because the wide receiver Moore is very unhappy. He's demanding a trade. You're too young to demand anything. Go sit the fuck down and have a glass of milk and an Oreo cookie, all right? You're not going nowhere. You'll shut up. You'll be spoken to. You'll speak when you're spoken to. And you'll catch footballs when they're thrown to you. All right? So get with the program and be happy that the Jets are winning. It hasn't happened often over the last 50 years. The Jets are a young team and coming, and it's obvious that they're going to have a road north to a bright future. The team's loaded with talent and a young, good quarterback, and I think their entire future and success, even this year, will hang on the growth of this QB and how fast he comes along, Zach Wilson. But this week, the Jets are walking into a trap game. This is a classic trap game. The Broncos are struggling. They're not as bad as a team as they've been playing, and their defense is top 3 in the league. They're at home, and the Jets are just right for the cooking. The Broncos are -1. The Denver Broncos will win this game outright this week. As the Jets come off 2 emotional wins, it'll be very high to match the emotion with the Steelers and Packers as it would be to be going to Denver. As you might be thinking Denver's not as good and their guard could easily be let down a level or 2. The Broncos are going to be playing for their season on the line like a wounded animal at home. And that's a scary scenario. I like the Denver Broncos this week. Give me the Denver Broncos. Okay? 23-17 Denver Broncos. They cover the -1. Don't even mess with it. Just take the Broncos straight up to win the game. Next, we go to Jacksonville, my new hometown of Florida, where the Jacksonville Jaguars have lost 2 in a row, but are a better team than their record shows. Young, talented team, a big arm quarterback in Lawrence, led by a winner of a coach, Peterson, who's turning it around. Now, the last 2 weeks, they've ran into a wall. But young teams will do that. They're at home. But this will not be a Jacksonville home game. This will be a New York Giants home game away, as Florida is loaded with transplant New Yorkers, and they show up to the games, especially the Giants fan base. Expect that stadium to be 60, 65, 70% Giant fans. It's supposed to be an 82-degree sunny day in Florida on Sunday. It'll be a little warm. The New York Football Giants are beyond warm. They are fire. The Giants are 5-1, coming off of 2 monster wins against the Packers and Ravens, teams that none of the specialists or analysts gave the Giants a shot in hell to win those games. Well, the Giants won those games, and in the 4th quarter, they put it all over the Ravens. Defense came to life. Flibbs with the game-winning strip sack. The man leads the league the last 3 weeks in pressures. The young kid is becoming a man. And soon he will be the lion that we spoke about on draft night. Barkley's going to play. He's healthy. The news out of New York, maybe there'll be a new receiver in the next few weeks. But the Giants are still going to stick with Tony and Galladay after the bye. They'll both come back 100% healthy. And I'm hoping Tony could get back in this offense because he would give this offense a whole nother dynamic. The New York Giants are +3. Vegas disrespect the Giants. Still not a believer. 5-1, one of the top-ranked defenses in the league. Arguably the best running game in the NFL. Top special teams. 2 amazing kickers. And it's not even a doubt. The best coached team in the NFL. Dabo stands at the top for reversing this organization's road. So far, 5-1. The most well-coached team in the NFL, and that's the biggest reason why the Giants are 5-1. We also have the least amount of turnovers. Giants are playing really good football with no penalties, no turnovers. They're just playing smash-mouth physical football, and they're getting creative with the RPOs. And Jones is making the throws that have to be made, as the Giants, I believe, are number 1 or number 2 in the NFL in 3rd down conversions. Daniel Jones. You like him or don't, you got to give it to him when he deserves it, the same way you give it to him and beat him up when he deserves it. It goes 2 ways. Right now, Daniel Jones is the head of this snake. We all know Barkley is the superstar, but Daniel Jones has got the brain of the operation with the coach, and he's got the Giants at 5-1, the Cinderella team in the NFL. And the Giants are going to Jacksonville. And a lot of people believe that the Giants should win this game, but Vegas has the Giants +3. They got Jacksonville favorite. And when I look at this game, it's got trap written all over it. Because you're coming off of 2 emotional big-time wins where you had to give your blood and your sweat and your all to win those games and prove to the world who you are. And now you're dropping back a few levels to a team that not many people think much of, right? The Jaguars are 2-4. Well, you know what? This is a trap game. And a lot of fans don't like hearing that word. But here's the truth. The Ravens walked into one last week. The Niners walked into Atlanta last week. And the Giants are walking into a trap game this week. We're 5-1. We're above anywhere where any of us could have imagined. I don't care how much of a positive dreamer you are. No one thought the Giants would be 5-1 in August. You're 5-1. We're going to Jacksonville. This game worries me a lot. The Jaguars can run the ball real well. The Giants have had problems with that. The Jaguars are young, feisty, and they have a strong front seven. I think we're looking at a defensive game. There will be spurts of scores. Last week I said a special teams play would be huge in that Giants win. And there were 2. There was a return by the Giants to midfield that was big. And there was a missed field goal by the Ravens, which hardly ever happens with their kicker, as it boinked off the post before the half. Well, those points were big. Well, you know what? Look for a special teams play this week on either one or the other team. The Giants are +3. And I'm going to tell you that buy a point and make the Giants +4, just in case if you're a guy who plays these games for some chocolate chip cookies. +4 with the Giants, you should be alright. And by me telling you to buy a point, that tells you what I think of this game. This is a trap game. One of these teams is walking down the field and hitting or missing the game-winning field goal in the final few seconds of this game. This is a hard game to pick. That's why I tell you buy a point and make the Giants +4. Take the Giants +4. As a home, I tell you the Giants win this game on a field goal. 24-22. But I can't be a homer, and I hope I'm wrong. The Giants have the Jaguars, and then you go to Seattle next week. The Giants are losing one of these 2 games. I'm here on video telling you that right now. I'm going to go with the Giants this week. The Giants find a way to pull this game out 24-22 on either a Jacksonville missed late field goal or a Giants hit late field goal. 24-22 Giants. Again, buy the point +4 just to be safe, because this game is going to be right around that. Let's go.
Girl, you can do better.
Let's go to Monday night.
Name wireless carrier with
Monday night. The New England Patriots are home against the Chicago Bears. The Bears have quit. The Bears have quit on the season. They can't score. They can barely get a ball past the 50-yard line. Fields, you take a look at one look of Fields, he wants out. And he might be able to be hot next year, because I don't know if the Bears are going to keep him, because I expect the Bears to be a top 3 pick in the draft. The Bears might want to go with a new quarterback. Fields could be there for the taking for some team. Fields is unhappy. He's not being used. There's no growth. There's no system. There's no growing in the offense. And there's no plays that are going to allow Fields to grow. Just make him look awful. The Bears are walking into a hot Patriots team that once again has returned to their old selves. Coached real well on special teams and defense. Quarterbacks that manage the game and don't make turnovers. And allow the defense to win them the games. And they'll score just enough and take up just enough time for possession to lock up those games. Bill Belichick, the greatest coach in the NFL, is doing it again quietly. And the Bears are walking into a beatdown. This will be the biggest beating of the week. On Monday night, the Patriots will beat the Bears 28-6. 2 field goals for the Bears. They do not crack the goal line. 28-6 Patriots. Put all your shekels down on that one. Patriots in a blowout. I don't care which quarterback is quartering and they say Mac Jones is coming back. It doesn't matter. He ain't got to do much. The Patriots defense will score a touchdown. The special teams will do some damage. 28-6 blowout. The Patriots. That's a lock. And these were the Miz's picks for week 7. And I'll give you one bonus before I leave. The Yankees are down 2-0 to the Astros, coming home with 3 games in the Bronx Zoo, a place that's not kind to visitors. Go ask the Cleveland Indians. Want to rock that baby at the Yankees, huh? 2-0, it's not over. The home games with Coles and Cortez, they're 2 aces on the mound, Saturday and Sunday. And I'll give you a lock. The New York Yankees win Game 3 Saturday, and the New York Yankees will tie the series at 2 Sunday behind their 2 aces and a furious Bronx Zoo Stadium. After 2-2, I can't give you anything. But the Yankees will win the next 2 games. And Saturday's Game 3, I'm giving you a baseball special. Lock that game up. The Yankees win. This was The Miz for Week 7. Enjoy your weekend. Get a sandwich. Get a beer. Light a cigar. And if you're in New York, live it up. Because the New York football teams are giving you a special season thus far.